Hello everyone, we are welcome back to Shabest online tutorial. The question on the board read, what is the rate of change of the volume of hemisphere with respect to its radius, where r is equal to 4? So this r meaning the radius is equal to 4. The important thing from this question we're going to underline is what? Rate of change. Then the second thing is what? The volume of the hemisphere. The first thing we're going to do is to record the formula used to calculate the volume of hemisphere. And the formula is what? Volume of hemisphere is equal to what? 2 over 3 then pi r cubed, r raised to the power of 3. So this is the formula to calculate the volume of the hemisphere. But in respect to this question, rate of change. When you hear rate of change, it means the derivative. So we're going to differentiate this formula, then we substitute radius as 4 because the radius is given from the equation as 4. So the derivative for this formula is going to be what? The derivative of volume of the hemisphere with respect to its radius. So we're going to differentiate with respect to radius, with respect to r is equal to 2 over 3 pi r raised to the power of 3. Look at the radius here. So what we are going to use is power rule. Recall our power rule. We use the power to multiply by the coefficient of pi r, then we take away 1 from the power. 3 multiplied by 2 over 3 is going to give us 6 over 3. And 6 divided by 3 is the same as 2. Then we copy pi r. Then we take away 1 from the power. 3 minus 1 is going to remain 2. So the next thing we're going to do is anywhere we see radius, then we replace 4. So this is going to be what? 2, then pi. In place of r, we are going to replace 4, then to the power of 2. What is 4 to the power of 2? Is 4 multiplied by 4, which is going to give us 16. Then 16 multiplied by 2 is going to give us a 32 pi. And here is the final question on the board read, determine the maximum value of y is equal to 5x squared plus 2x minus 1. So the first thing we're going to do is to write the formula to determine the maximum value of a polynomial function. So and the formula is given as what? Y is equal to what? 4ac minus b squared, then everything all over 4a. So this is the formula. So from this polynomial, a is going to be our leading coefficient, which is what? 5. Then b is the coefficient of the middle term, coefficient of x here, which is positive 2. Then c is the constant, which is what? Negative 1. So having get this from the polynomial, we're going to replace it back to this formula. So this is going to be what? Y is equal to 4 multiply by 4 is constant and a is 5. So 4 multiplied by 5, then multiply by c, and c is constant negative 1. Then minus b squared. What is b? b is 2. So this is going to be 2 raised to the power of 2. Then everything all over 4 multiplied by a, and a is 5. Now we're going to simplify. So this is going to be equal to what? 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. Then 20 multiplied by negative 1 is going to give us negative 20. Then minus 2 raised to the power of 2 is going to give us 4. Then everything all over 4 multiplied by 5 is going to give us 20. So this is going to be equal to negative 20, negative 4 is going to give us negative 24 divided by 20. Now we're going to reduce this fraction. 4 can go into 24 6 times, and remember we have negative, so it's going to be negative 6. Then all over 4 can go into 25 times, so the answer is negative 6 over 5. And when you divide negative 6 by 5, it's going to give us negative 1.2. So here is the answer to this question. With correct 32.21 into the bracket of 2 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of negative 2, and everything raised to the power of 2 to 3 decimal places. So what we're going to do is to simplify this and correct it to 3 decimal places. So this is going to be what? 32.21 into the bracket. First we work in the bracket. Remember our BODMAS or PEMDAS. So this is going to be what? 2 multiplied by, what is 10 raised to the power of negative 2? Is the same as what? 1 all over 10 raised to the power of positive 2. When this is going to come down, the negative will change to what? Positive, and everything raised to the power of 2. So this is the same as 32.21 into the bracket of 2 multiplied by 1 is going to give us 2 over, what is 10 raised to the power of 2? Is 10 multiplied by 10, which is going to give us 100. Then everything raised to the power of 2. So this is going to be the same as what? 32.21 into the bracket of 2 into 2 is going to be 1 over 2 into 100 is going to give us a 50. So everything raised to the power of 2. And remember, in JAMB examination, calculator is allowed, it's on your desktop. So you can press 1 divided by 50, then equal to raised to the power of 2. Then any answer you get, multiply it by 32.21. So it's going to give us what? 0.012884. And remember, they say we should correct our answer to 3 decimal places. So this is going to be what? 0. After point to the next 3 number, we have 0 here, 1. Then we're going to stop at here because 3 decimal places. But you check the next number. If the number is 5 above, then you approximate. So the next number is 8, and 8 is above 5. Is 5 above. So we are going to approximate 1 here is going to be what? 3. So this is to 3 decimal places. So this is how to correct this number to 3 decimal on the board read, find the derivative of f of x is equal to 3x squared into the bracket of 4x plus 1 at x is equal to 1. So this is differentiation. What we are going to do is to differentiate this function with respect to x, then we substitute at x is equal to 1. In our final answer, anywhere we see x, we are going to replace 1. And remember, this is 3x to power 2 is multiply 4x plus 1. So we're going to use product rule. And recall product rule, f prime of x is equal to what? U dv over dx, then plus v du over dx. What do you notice in this formula? Write u, differentiate v with respect to x, then write v, differentiate u with respect to x. So we let this first one to be what? To be u, then this second one to be v. So f prime of x at first derivative will be equal to, we are going to write u, which is what? 3x to power 2, then multiply by dv over ds. We're going to differentiate v with respect to x. 4x plus 1. Derivative of 4x is the same as 4. Then derivative of 1 is constant, is going to be 0. So we are done with this. Then plus v. We are going to write v. So we copy v, 4x plus 1. Then multiply by the derivative of u with respect to s. So we differentiate u. Where is u? U is here. So the derivative of 3x squared, recall our power rule. We use this power to multiply by 3x, then we take away 1 from the power. 2 multiplied by 3 is going to give us 6. Then 6x, then we take away 1 from the power is the same as 1. So 6x is the same as 6x raised to the power of 1. Now we're going to do the multiplication. 4 multiplied by 3x squared is going to give us 12x squared, then plus 6x multiplied by 4x is going to give us 24x squared, then 6x multiplied 1 is going to give us 6x. Now we're going to combine the like term. 12x squared plus 24x squared is going to give us 36x squared, then plus 6x. So this is the final answer, but remember at x is equal to 1. So anywhere we see x, we replace 1. So this is going to be 36 into 1 raised to the power of 2 plus 6 into 1. So this is going to be what? 36. 1 square is the same as 1. 1 multiplied by 36 is the same as 36. Then plus 6 multiplied by 1 is the same as 6. So when you add this together, it's going to give us 42. And here's the question on the board read, at what rate a sum of 200 naira deposited for 4 years raise an interest of 9.5 naira? So this is simple interest. And if you look at this question, they say at what rate? That means we are looking for the rate. So the first thing is to recall the simple interest formula. So this is going to be what? Simple interest is equal to what? Principal multiplied by rate, then multiplied by time all over 100. So if you, from the question, simple interest, the interest is what? 9.5. So this is going to be what? 9.5 is equal to the principal, the actual money, which is 200 naira. So this is 200 naira multiplied by the rate. We are looking for the rate, so we keep R constant. Then multiply by what? Time. So how many times? In 4 years. So the time there is going to be 4. Then all over the 100 is constant from the formula. So now we're going to simplify this. This is going to be 9.5 is equal to 200 divided by 100. So it's going to be 0 will cancel 0, 0 will cancel 0. 2 divided by 3 is the same as 2. Then that 2 multiplied by 4 is going to give us what? 8. Multiplied by r is going to be what? 8r. Then we divide both sides by 8 because we are looking for the rate. So this is going to cancel this. We are left with only r in the right hand side, which is equal to 9.5 divided by 8. When you press calculator, it's going to give us what? approximately 1.2 then percent. So this is the question on the board read, simplify and express in standard form. 0.0056 multiplied by 0.0071 divided by 0.26 multiplied by 0.0013. So remember, in JAMB examination, calculator is allowed. So no need to waste your time here. What you just did is to press calculator. 0.0056 multiplied by 0.00071 is going to give us what? 0.00000 then 3976. Then divided by 0.26 multiplied by 0.0013 is going to give us what? 0.000338. Then you just divide. When you divide this by this, it's going to give us what? Remember, calculator is allowed. It's going to give us 0.0011763. So 11763. So remember, we're asked to express this in standard form. To express this in standard form, what are we going to do? We move this point into the middle of first two number, which is the next two number is 1 and 1. So we're going to move this point into their middle. So when we move this point here, 1, 2, 3. So the point is going to be here. So we copy this number 1.1, then 7, 6, then multiply it by 10 raised to the power of how many times we move the point? 1, 2, 3, 3 times. But because we move from left to right, so it's going to raise to the power of -3. So this is how to express this in standard form. So on your desktop, you are going to see calculator to use. So don't need to waste your time. So we're asked to simplify this sodic expression. Square root of 8 minus 2 all over square root of 2. So the first thing we're going to do, this 8 is not a perfect square. So we're going to break it into two numbers. So this is going to be what? 4 multiplied by 2 is going to give us 8. And one of these numbers is a perfect square. 4 is a perfect square. Then minus, we are going to rationalize the expression in the right hand side. Rationalization meaning we are going to multiply this expression by what? This denominator, square root of 2 divided by square root of 2. So this is going to be what? 2 over square root of 2. Then we multiply it by what? Square root of 2 divided by square root of 2. So this is how to rationalize. So this is going to be what? This, according to one of the property of sort, this can also be break as square root of 4 multiplied by square root of 2. This can only work when the operations is separated by multiplication. Then minus, now we're going to simplify this. 2 multiplied by square root of 2 is going to give us 2 root 2 all over square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 2 is going to give us square root of 2 square. So when you take the square root of 4, it's going to give us 2. 2 multiplied by square root of 2 is going to give us 2 root 2 minus. Here, we know that the square will cancel the square root. And this 2 is going to cancel this 2. It will divide this 2, it will go. So we are left with only square root of 2 here. Now we can subtract square root of 2 from 2 root 2 because they have the same radicand, 2 and 2. So this is going to be, when you take away 1 of this from 2 of this, it will remain only 1 of square root of 2. And here is the simplification of this sodic expression. Way we should find x if log x to base 4 is equal to 0.5. So this is a logarithmic equation. So to solve for the value of x from this equation, we're going to recall one of the property of logarithm that say when we have log of a to base a is equal to c. When you have an equation in this form, which is exactly as this form, what we are going to do is to raise this b to the power of c, then we equate it to a. So this is going to be the same as what? A is equal to b raised to the power of c. We raise this b to the power of c, then we equate it to a. So this is the property we are going to apply to solve for the value of x from this equation. So this 4 is going to raise to the power of 0.5, then we equate it to what? X. So this is going to be what? X is equal to 4 raised to the power of 0.5. So x now be equal to, what is 0.5? 0.5 is the same as 1 over 2, then 4 to the power of 1 over 2 is the same as square root of 4. So x now is equal to 2. So from here, 4 raised to the power of 0.5, you can just press calculator to give you at the board rate. We should solve for the value of x from this exponential equation. So the first thing we're going to do, this 1 over 4, remember when we have 1 over x is the same as x raised to the power of -1. So this 1 over 4 is the same as 4 raised to the power of -1. then everything raised to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 1. So the next thing we're going to do is to recall power property of indices. We can multiply, since 4 is raised to the power of -1, then all is raised to the power of x plus 3. We can multiply the two power together. So this is going to be what? 4 raised to the power of -1 multiplied by x is going to give us -x. The -1 multiplied by 3 is going to give us -3, which is equal to. Then recall that any number raised to the power of 0 is the same as 1. Now to make the base to be the same, this one can also be written as 4 raised to the power of 0. Any number raised to the power of 0 is the same as 1. Now that the bases are the same and there's equality sign, when we recall one of the property of indices, the power is also the same. So we just cancel out the power and equate. We cancel out the base and equate the power. So the first power is what? -x minus 3, which is equal to, the power here is 0. Now we're going to solve for the value of x. -x now be equal to, we take this -3 to the right hand side of this equation, it becomes positive because of this equality sign. So we divide through by -1, -1. So that this is going to cancel this. X divided by 1 is the same as x, which is equal to 3 divided by -1 is going to give us -3. So -3 is the value of x that satisfies this exponential equation. To find the determinant of this matrix, matrix A, which is given as 3, 4, 2, 3. This is 2 by 2 matrix, 2 row, 2 column. So this question is just a bonus question in JAMB examination. To find the determinant of A, so the determinant is denoted as this of A, which is equal to, we're going to cross multiply. 3 multiplied by 3 is going to give us 9, minus 2 multiplied by 4 is going to give us 8. So this is going to be what? 9 minus 8 is the same as 1. So the determinant of this matrix A is equal to 1. So this is just a bonus question. We are asked to integrate 4x plus 2 raised to the power of 5 with respect to x. So this is integration. The first thing we're going to do is to write this function in normal form. So this is going to be what? Integral of 4x plus 2 raised to the power of 5 with respect to x, which is going to be what? Dx. To integrate this function, what we're going to use is u substitution. We let u to be equal to this bracket, which is what? 4x plus 2. Now we're going to differentiate both sides with respect to x. Derivative of u with respect to x is going to be what? Du over dx, which is equal to, derivative of 4x is going to be 4, and the derivative of 2 is constant, is going to be 0. Now we're going to make dx the subject of the formula. So when you cross multiply, the x now will be equal to du over 4. So now we're going to replace back to the equation. Anywhere we see 4x plus 2, we replace u, and anywhere we see dx, we replace du over 4. So this is going to be what? Integral of, in place of 4x plus 2 is going to be what? U, then raised to the power of 5, and in place of dx, we are going to replace du over 4. So the next thing is to take this 4 out. This is going to be what? 1 over 4, then integral of u to the power of 5 du. Now we're going to integrate u to power 5 with respect to u. This is going to be what? 1 over 4, then we open bracket. Remember, in integration, we add 1 to the power divided by the power plus integration constant because there's no limit. So we write u, add 1 to the power of u is become 6, then divided by the power, which is 6, then plus integration constant. But remember, we let u to be 4x plus 2. So this is going to be what? 1 multiplied by u to power 6 is the same as u to power 6. And we let u to be 4x plus 6. So we replace it back here. So this is going to be what? 4x plus 2 rather, raised to the power of 6. U is 6 here. Then everything all over. 4 multiplied by 6 is going to give us 24. Then plus integration constant. So this is the integration of this function with respect to evaluate the integral of x to power 2 minus 3 with respect to x, and the limit is from what? 2 to 4. So this is integration. So to integrate this, what are we going to do? We open bracket. To integrate x to power 2, remember our power rule of integration, we add 1 to the power divided by the power. So this is going to be what? X. 2 plus 1 is going to give us 3, and everything all over 3, then minus integration of 3 with respect to x is just the same as multiply x by 3. Is going to give us what? 3x. Then the limit is from what? 2 to 4. Now we're going to replace the limit starting from the what? The upper limit. So this is going to be what? Anywhere we see x will replace 4, then minus anywhere we see x will replace 2. So this is going to be what? When we replace 4 here, 4 to power 3 is going to give us 64, then over 3 minus. When we replace 4 here, 3 multiplied by 4 is going to give us 12. Then everything minus. Now we're going to replace the lower limit. 2, when we replace 2 here, 2 to power 3 is going to give us 8, then over 3, then minus. When we replace 2 here, 3 multiplied by 2 is going to give us 6. So now we can simplify this by finding the LCM, or you can press calculator direct. 64 divided by 3 minus 12 is going to give us what? 28 over 3, then minus 8 over 3 minus 6 is going to give us negative 10 over 3. Remember, this negative is going to affect this negative. So this is going to be what? 28 over 3. Negative times negative is going to be plus, then 10 over 3. Now, we can press the calculator direct, or you find the LCM. The LCM is just 3. Then since the LCM are the same, we just add the numerator. 28 plus 10 is going to give us 38. And when you divide 38 by 3, it's going to give us what? 12.66 or 12.7 approximately. So this is the evaluation of this. So the question on the board read, if y is equal to 5x sine x, find dy over dx. So this is differentiation. So this, if you look at this function, 5x is multiplying sine x, so we're going to use product rule. And remember, product rule formula, dy over dx is the same as what? U dv over dx plus v du over dx. What this formula implies, keep the first one constant, differentiate the second one, plus keep the second one constant, differentiate this first one. So here is going to be what? U, and this is going to be v. So dy over dx now will be equal to, we keep u constant. So this is going to be what? 5x, then multiply by the derivative of v with respect to x. And when you differentiate sine x, is going to give us what? Cosine of x. Then plus from this formula, we keep v constant. V is what? Sine of x, then multiply by the derivative of u. When you differentiate 5x with respect to x, is going to be what? 5. Now we're going to multiply. 5x multiplied by cosine x is going to give us 5s cosine of x, then plus 5 multiplied by sine x, the same as what? 5 sine x. So, and here is the derivative of this function with respect on the board x. Read, p is equal to square root of 4m over pi r, and we're asked to make m the subject of the formula. So this is changing of subject of formula. Look at m here, it's inside the square root. The first thing we're going to do is to remove the square root by square both sides of the equation. This is going to be p squared is equal to square root of 4m all over pi r, then all square. We just square both sides, so that this square is going to cancel the square root. P square now will be equal to 4m all over pi r. Now we're going to cross multiply. P square is the same as p square over 1 for easy cross multiplication. 1 multiplied by 4m is going to give us 4m, which is equal to p square multiplied by pi r is going to give us p square pi r. So now we are looking for m. So what do? We divide both sides by the coefficient of m, which is 4. Then also we divide here by 4. So this 4 is going to cancel this 4. M now will be equal to p to power 2, then pi r all over 4. So we are successfully make m the subject of the formula from this equation. To evaluate this integral of sine 5x dx. So what we are going to do here is to use u substitution. First, we let u to be equal to 5x. Now we're going to differentiate both sides with respect to x. So the derivative of u with respect to x is going to be what? Du over dx, which is equal to derivative of 5x with respect to x is the same as 5. Now we're going to make dx the subject of the formula. So dx now will be equal to du over 5 when you cross multiply and make dx the subject of the formula. So this is going to be what? Now we're going to replace it back to the equation. It's going to be what? Integral of sine. In place of 5x, we replace u. Then in place of dx, we replace du over 5. So this is going to be what? Multiplied by du over 5. Now we're going to take this 5 outside. This is going to be what? 1 over 5. Then integral of sine of u, then du. Now we're going to sine u with respect to u. This is going to be equal to 1 over 5, the integration of sine u with respect to u is the same as what? Minus cosine of u, then plus integration constant. But remember, we let u to be 5x, so we're going to replace it back. So this is going to be what? Minus cosine of, in place of u, we replace 5x, then everything all over 5, because 1 multiplied by negative cosine u is the same as negative cosine u. Then we replace u as 5x, then plus integration constant. So this is how to integrate this function. But remember, this constant we are adding is because there is no limit. And in the option, sometimes they may use this constant as k. It's still the same. So it's still the same. So anyone you see in the option, constant k or c is still the same. For the value of x from this equation. And the given equation is what? 3 over x minus 2 plus 2 over 5 is equal to 4. And we're asked to solve for the value of x. So what are we going to do? The first thing is to clear the fraction by multiply the whole of this equation by the LCM of the denominator. And the denominator, we have x minus 2 and 5. There's no common factor. We just multiply them. So the LCM is just x minus 2 multiplied by 5. So the given equation is x 3 over x minus 2 plus 2 over 5 is equal to 4. Then we multiply it by the LCM. So LCM is just x minus 2 then multiply by 5. So x minus 2 multiplied by 5, when we multiply this by this is going to cancel this. We are left with only 5. Then 5 multiplied by 3 is going to give us 15. Plus 5 is going to cancel 5. We are left with x minus 2. And x minus 2 multiplied by 2 is the same as 2 into the bracket of x minus 2, which is equal to, there's no denominator here, then we multiply everything by 4. 4 multiplied by 5 is going to give us 20, then into the bracket of x minus 2. Now we're going to open the bracket. We have 15 plus 2 times 2 times x is 2x, then 2 times negative 2 is going to give us negative 4, which is equal to 20 times x is going to give us 20x, then minus 20 times 2 is going to give us 40. Now we're going to combine the like term. We have 2x here. When this 20x cross to this side, it becomes negative 20x, which is equal to, we have negative 40 here. When we take this 15 to the other side, it becomes negative 15. And when we take this 4 to this side, it becomes positive 4. So this is going to be what? 2x minus 20x is going to give us minus 18x, which is equal to negative 40, negative 15 is going to give us what? Negative 55. And negative 55 plus 4 is going to give us what? Negative 51. Now we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is what? Negative 18. So we have negative 18, then negative 18. So this is going to cancel this. We are left with x, which is equal to, negative will cancel negative. 51 divided by 18 is going to give us 2.83 approximately. So this is the value of x that satisfies this equation. On the board read, in how many ways can 3 students be selected from a group of 7 students? When you hear selection, it means combination. So we recall the formula to use to find the combination. And the formula is when we have n combination r is equal to what? N factorial all over n minus r factorial r factorial. So from this question, r is 3, r is equal to 3, and the n is the group of students, which is what? 7. So n is equal to 7. So to substitute into this formula is going to be what? 7 combination 3, which is equal to, what is n? 7. It's going to be 7 factorial all over n is what? 7 minus r. R is 3, then factorial, then 3 factorial. And 7 factorial imply 7 is going to multiply by each preceding integer from 7 down to 1. So this is going to be what? 7 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1, then all over. What is 7 minus 3? 7 minus 3 is going to give us 4. 4 factorial is the same as what? 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1, then multiplied by what? 3 factorial. 3 factorial is the same as 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. So 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1, the whole of this is going to cancel this. Here we have 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. 6 multiplied by 1 is the same as 6. So the whole of this is going to cancel this. Then this 4 is going to cancel this 4. We are left with just 7 multiplied by 5. And 7 multiplied by 5 is going to give us what? 35 ways. So we have 35 ways of selecting 3 students from the group of 7. Given this radical equation, I will asked to solve for the value of x from this equation. So the first thing we're going to do, if you look at this equation, 12 is not a perfect square. We cannot take square root of 12. Similarly, we cannot take the square root of 27. So, but this 12 can also be written as what? 4 multiplied by 3 is going to give us 12, where 4 is a perfect square. Then plus 9 is the same as what? Sorry, 27 is the same as what? 9 multiplied by 3. 9 is a perfect square. When you multiply it by 3, it's going to give us back 27. Then minus x square root of 3 is equal to 0. And according to one of the property of sort, this is the same as what? Square root of 4 multiplied by square root of 3. We can break it since the operation is separated by multiplication. The operation here is multiplication. Then plus also we can break this as square root of 9 multiplied by square root of 3 minus x square root of 3 is equal to 0. 4 is a perfect square. When we take the square root of 4, it's going to be 2. 2 multiplied by square root of 3 is going to give us 2 root 3. Then plus square root of 9 is 3. 3 multiplied by root 3 is going to give us 3 root 3. Then minus x root 3 is equal to 0. So the next thing we're going to do is to take this negative x root 3 to the right hand side of the equation. And we can add these two together because they have the same radical. So 2 root 3 plus 3 root 3 is going to give us 5 root 3, which is equal to, when we take this negative x root 3 to the right hand side, to change to positive x root 3 because of this equality sign. Remember, we're looking for the value of x. We divide through by what? Root 3. Then here by what? Root 3. The root 3 will cancel this root 3. We are left with only x in the right hand side, which is equal to root 3 will also cancel this root 3. It will only remain 5. So therefore, the value of x that satisfies this radical equation is 5. Learn how to evaluate the integral of cosine 7x with respect to x. So what we are going to use here is u substitution. First, we are going to let u to be equal to 7x. Now we're going to differentiate both sides with respect to x. Derivative of u with respect to x is du over dx, which is equal to derivative of 7x with respect to x is the same as 7. Now we're going to make the x the subject of the formula. So the x now will be equal to du over 7. So the next thing we're going to do is to replace these two back to the equation. Anywhere we see u, 7x will replace u, and anywhere you see the x will replace du over 7. This is going to be what? Integral of cosine. In place of 7x will replace u, then in place of dx we replace du over 7. Now the next thing we're going to do is to take this 7 outside. So this is going to be what? 1 over 7, because this 7 is constant. Then integral of cosine of u, then du. Now we're going to integrate cosine u with respect to u. So this is going to be what? Equal to 1 over 7 with open bracket. Integration of cosine u with respect to u is the same as what? Sine of u, then plus integration constant. And mind you, this constant can be written as c or k, depends on the one they use in the option. So we can put k or c. So, but remember, we let u to be 7x. We are going to replace it back. 1 multiplied by sine u is going to give us sine of, in place of u, we replace back 7x, then everything all over 7, then plus integration constant. So this is how to evaluate the integral of cosine 7x with respect to this function. Y is equal to 3x cosine x, and we're asked to find prime of is the same as what? When we have x is the same as dy over dx. So what they asked us to do is to find the derivative of this function with respect to x. So as you can see, the function 3x is multiply cosine x. So we're going to use product rule. Then recall product rule when we are differentiating y with respect to x is the same as what? U dv over dx, then plus v du over dx. What do you notice in this formula? Write u, then you will differentiate v with respect to x, plus write v multiplied by we differentiate u with respect to x. So the derivative of y with respect to x, which is the same as what? Y prime is equal to, first we keep this constant, which is u, 3x, then multiply by the derivative of cosine x is going to give us minus sine x, then plus we keep v constant, which is what? Cosine x. Then they multiply by the derivative of 3x is the same as 3 with respect to x. So the next thing we're going to do is to do the multiplication. 3x multiplied by minus sine x is going to give us minus 3x sine x, then plus 3 multiplied by cosine x is going to give us 3 cosine x. So we can take this negative here and bring this plus here. So this is going to be what? 3 cosine x minus 3x sine x. So here is the derivative of this function with respect to x. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.